Okay. Whoops. All right. Second take. I had to say that because you told me not to. There is a problem that I need to solve. It's the mindset or the logical conflict that's occurring that causes things like rivalries, gang rivalries, stealing, robberies, people who don't want to take care of themselves but rather would like to pirate those who can. I understand the mindset and the issue that's causing the problem, and this is my solution for it. So pretty much the first thing that should be said is the general principle that if there is enough for one thing to exist, then there is enough for all things to exist, because the exchange from 0 to 1, from nothing to just one thing, is already an infinite change. It's already an impossible value, making it everlasting. Now, in a case of simplification, we can say that all stars are just energy being compressed from every single direction. Now, with more time added, it's hard to comprehend how inanimate objects can have choice over where they want to go. Once again, that's a longer discussion to be had with pitfalls that I need to address on my own before I bring it to a larger audience. So, ultimately, let's say that if one thing can exist, let's say one star that can move in any direction it wants, can exist, then it has to be true that two stars that can move in any direction that they want can also exist. And it would look something like this. They have the choice of going in any direction and would never crash into one another or never cause anyone any problems. So, if for some reason these stars, these whatever these are, crash into one another, then the natural implication is that there was somehow not enough space on all fields for both to exist. This has serious implications. It's an illogical error to what is already a general principle to existence. So, let's say that for some reason, one of these stars, and we're only calling them stars for simplification, but they're just orbital. They can move in any direction they want. One of these stars can only move in a T-pad direction. They can only move up and down and left and right. That's all they can comprehend. That's all they get. And we can say there they have an EP4 orbital orientation. And let's say that another one can move at twice that pace in twice the amount of directions that this one cannot even comprehend. It can't comprehend these. Cannot comprehend these. And so, because this one is capable of doing more and therefore has more, and this one would also like to be able to do more, it assumes that by creating conflict or collision with the one that can do more, with the update, that the removal of the other will leave the remaining space to themselves, meaning all the space that this one has, that this one creates by being able to move and comprehend it, will be left to this one, meaning they believe that if they crash into this one, get rid of this one, they will ultimately take their place, and that the remaining space will be theirs. Conflict. So this one chooses to crash. That's what happens. Chooses to crash, causes a lot of energy, or release of energy, collision energy, right? Now, what happens is, at the collision, energy is released, literally released, and what happens is, for the EP4, the lesser orbital being or whatever, what they experience is a relative growth to shrinking. And what that means is, in the moment that they crash, in the moment that they take or that they steal or that they kill or that they ruin someone else because they had more and thought that left space would be remained for them, what's going on is, it's not that in that moment they're gaining more. They're not gaining anything from it. What's actually happening is, because the implication is that somehow there is not enough space in all fields for both to exist, because there was a collision on some field that led to a physical conflict, that the surrounding environment is actually shrinking and being removed, is losing compared to that collision. Meaning, because something could not exist, less space is possible, therefore we are losing existential space. Meaning, at the point of the collision, it feels like you're getting more. It feels like you're getting more things. It feels like you gained something. You got your cash for the night. You got your food for the night. You got your victory. You got your insults. You got your humiliation. You got whatever you wanted. But what's really happening is, at that moment, Because of the collision, implication is that there's not enough space, space shrinks. As space shrinks around that collision, the collision appears to be growing from its own perspective. But really what's happening is that remaining space is being lost. Because the truth is, the more that exists, the more that can exist. Instead of going for pirated collisions, if both parties attempted to establish that both parties were capable of having as much as they wanted without problems, this orbital path, this orbital structure would actually generate enough space for it to be possible. But so long as one assumes that they cannot have space without the other one being gone, then ultimately there is not enough for space to exist in the first place. Therefore, space is lost at every collision. This is why I told you guys to stop fighting. This is why you all got separated. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, actually. I warned you for like 2 years. Okay, so that's all that's happening. Every time you fight, every time you crash, every time you choose to fight, even if you're choosing it, you are saying that there is not enough space for life to exist, and therefore it is shrinking around you. You might feel like it's a victory, but you're actually losing over time, because that relative exchange, that relative explosion is going to calm down, and you're going to be left with all the space that you lost, and then you're going to need to crash into another person in order to emulate that feeling. I have you here, and this is I'm sorry, I have to talk like this because I'm serious. This is my threat to all gangs. This is my threat to all those little thugs, all those little wannabe rappers, all those little wannabe gun toters. This is my threat to you. I have you fully comprehended here. This is my actual threat. Stop, change. I'm tired of it. I want to live in a different society. All right.